Hi, I'm Sylvia from NonnieNoo Creations Limited, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make my little elephant. He comes in 5 different sizes, and the size I'm doing in this video is the 6x10. As you can see in my Embroid program, I've printed off the patterns, and if you've got that in your program, it's a good idea because that way you can cut your material according to the pattern and it saves you wasting a lot of fabric. Okay, so we'll get going. We're going to do the arms and the feet first, and I've put the stabilizer in my hoop, and we're going to stitch out the outline so I know exactly where to place my material. Okay, I've sewn out the outline, and now you're going to put your fabric on top. I have to be really careful because I haven't got very much of this fabric, so it's a bit tight, but it's okay. Alright, and I'm going to place it in the hoop and stitch out. I better tape it down, even though with this machine you don't really need to. Okay, tape the corners. And we're going to stitch out the outline and so it secures the material. The machine's stitched out the outline so you can see where the arms and the legs are going. And I'm going to put some water soluble on this so it won't, the stitching will show up better. You only need to do that if you're using minky material. But I like using it regardless because I think it stitches out better. Okay, and now we're going to stitch out the next color, which is going to be the paw prints in that. The arms and it's now doing feet. Okay, we finished doing these bits now. So take the water soluble off. And now we're going to put the top on. And put the hoop back in the machine. Make sure you tape the sides so the fabric doesn't move. And also make sure you have the right side facing down. We're now going to stitch out the last color, and it'll stitch the outline of the legs and the arms, and then it'll also do a line right in the middle, and I'll explain to you in a minute why that is. Finish stitching this part of the hooping, and I've put a line here, and what you're going to do is cut all the way around there and then cut it in half so you got 2 legs and 2 arms. Okay, I've re-hooped the stabilizer in the hoop again, and this is for the second hooping, and we're going to do the ears and the trunk. And first I'm going to sew an outline so I know exactly where to place my material. Okay, I've got the outline now, so I put my fabric on top. Right side facing on top. And just secure the sides. Put it in the machine, and it's going to do the outline again. Okay, the outline has been done, and it's going to stitch out the trunk bit first, and we're going to put a bit of water soluble stabilizer on there. Filling out the ridges on the trunk. we're going to take the water-soluble bit off, and now we're going to put the little bit for the trunk facing down on top. Stick it down with a bit of tape so it doesn't move. And back in the hoop and stitch out the next color. It's sewn the outline of the trunk, and now I'm using a different fabric, and this is going to be for the front of the ears. So I'm going to put that over here, make sure it covers it, and tape it down. And then we're going to stitch the next color, and it's also going to do a center line again. Stitch the outline of the ear, and now the last color is going to stitch the middle line down. And that is so when you cut around it, you can cut right on the line and you'll have 2 ears. Okay, we're now going to remove the stuff from the hoop. And if you've got tearaway stabilizer, it's quite easy. Just take everything out. I'm a bit ruthless when it comes to this. Okay, and now you can cut all around this and get it ready to insert it for the next bit. So we're going to cut all the bits out now. I've cut out the ears, and as you can see, this middle line, all you need to do is cut it. If you cut it right on the line, then you don't have to, it'll come undone. And you just turn the ear inside out. Right, and you do the same with the other one. Okay, I've cut these out and turn them inside out. Make sure you clip the corners really well. And we're going to stuff them in a minute. And I'm now going to show you what to do with the trunk. Okay, this is probably the trickiest bit of this whole operation, but it's not that difficult. Here's the trunk. As you can see, it's completely stitched closed. And what we're going to do is cut right on the stitching line. You have to do this neat and tidy because this is the line that you're going to sew on later on. Okay, so now we've got an opening. And what you got to do now is push this in like so. So you're pushing it up. And this is going to be the trunk. See, it's all makes sense now. Push it down a bit more. And in here you can even try to make the hole a bit so it looks like a trunk. Isn't that cute? Okay, now I'm going to stuff all the bits and pieces. And what I do is I don't really stuff it a lot because you'll have a terrible problem trying to sew it all together. So I just put a bit in, and I find that babies like it a bit floppy anyways. So this is good enough, and the top is completely empty. Okay, and you do that with the arms and the legs. The ears you leave as is. Okay, this is the third and last hooping. You always have to do this one last because you need the other bits to attach to the body. So I've put the stabilizer in my hoop, and I'm just going to stitch out the placement line. Okay, the placement line has been stitched, and we're going to put the fabric on top, right side facing you, and I always have the pile going down. Make sure it covers everything. And it does. And tape it. And we're now going to stitch out color 2. Right, it's stitched the outline and secured the fabric to the hoop, and I again put some water soluble down. Okay. Okay, and now we're going to stitch out the bits, and this is this little bit of hair we're going to do first. Okay, it's done the bit of hair now, and now it's going to do the white of the eyes. It's finished doing the white of the eye now, and now it's doing the blue. It's just finishing the black around the eye. It's finished doing the eyes and the eyebrows, and now it's going to do the mouth. It's finished sewing the mouth, and now we're going to sew the placement line for the trunk. Okay, we've done the placement line for the trunk, and here's the trunk, and we did it before, and this bit is bare, it hasn't got anything. So we're going to place the trunk like that and stick it down and put the hoop in the machine, and we're going to stitch. So we've stitched this, and what you got to do is cut it right near the stitching line. I always leave the water soluble on so it's easier to cut the material without cutting the bottom bit. Okay, we've done that, and now it's going back in the machine to do the last stitching for the trunk. It's now done the top stitching for the top of the trunk, and now we're going to attach the arms and the legs, and then it'll all be finished. It's now stitching out the placement line for the ears and the arms and the legs. Okay, here we've got the placement line for the ear. It's a straight line. It's slightly outside the face, and the ear is going to go like that. So we're going to line the ear up like so and tape it down. And then we're going to sew the next color. Oops. I folded the ears in half so it's it doesn't get in the way of the arm which we're going to attach now. We're now going to attach the leg, and you can, I always put it like that, and this is how it's supposed to be, so you get them the right way. And you just turn it over and tape it down. I'll tape down now, and we stitch that one down. I've now taped down the second leg, and I'm going to stitch that. It's quite difficult with these multi-needle ones because especially when it's bulky, so if you haven't got a multi-needle, it'll be easier for you. I've now taped the second arm in place, and we're going to stitch that out now. So he's all attached now, all his arms and his legs. And we're going to tuck them all in now so we can put the top on. See, I've tucked them all in. Make sure all the stitching lines are free and not with any arms and legs. It's not that difficult to do, but you got to make sure, fold his ears up, otherwise they get stuck on the side. And I'm going to put the top over and tuck them in tightly and sew out the last color. Fabric facing down, right side facing down. And I've pinned it all around very tightly and securely. Make sure you turn the hoop over and make sure that it's not in the line of the stitching. As you can see, mine is all right. Ready to stitch out the last stop. All tucked in nicely. We're going to cut nicely around them, leaving a little bit extra around here so we can tuck that in and slip stitch it. Here he is all cut out. Make sure right around here you clip the little corners, otherwise it'll pucker, and I've left a bit of extra fabric around there. Okay, here he is ready to be stuffed. And here he is, all stuffed and ready to be cuddled. And here he is with the rest of the family. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was of some use to you. Details of where you can get my patterns will be on here. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.